Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
One of my favorite all-time baseball players, and I had a chance to meet him when I was a young boy and sit in the dugout at the then Milwaukee Braves game in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was Hammerin' Hank Aaron, Hall of Fame baseball player. And I ran across one of his quotes, and this is one of my very favorites. Quote, "It took me 17 years to get 3,000 hits in baseball. I did it in one afternoon on the golf course." Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. It's Monday. Oh, thank you very much, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Yes, sirree, get on the route service, 734-6969, and our friends at the Valley Country Stores all over the Valley, and especially the one right over there in Rupert at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at your Valley Country Stores. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line and get our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Fantabulous. Go ahead and give us the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, my friend. Please call more often. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. How about them Cubs?
Hey, man, tonight's another big night. They are playing at Wrigley tonight, and I make a prediction they're going to take both games and go to the next level.
Wow. Good for you.
I hope so. As a Cub fan, we can only hope and pray. Thank you. All right, thanks. Oh, my goodness, I appreciate that. Yeah, the Cubs are playing again tonight at home against the Cardinals. Come on, Cubbies. Hey, don't forget, it's time for the weather right now, and the weather's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, and look for the blue door. I've got to call them later on today, as a matter of fact, and talk to Kyle and Whitney. Hey, all your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. And don't forget on Mondays, Mohawk Mondays. They've got all the great Mohawk carpet over at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now it's time for the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do kick off another work week. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, but not too bad. Expect a high of 77 tonight, low of 44 tomorrow. Pretty much the same. Looks like sunny skies, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. 80 for Wednesday with an overnight low of 45. We're going to remain in the mid-70s to upper 70s pretty much for the rest of the week. Maybe by Sunday and into next week, temperatures could be cooling off to the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 65. Sunset tonight is at 6:57. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, thank you very much. She does a great job. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, We have anniversary today, and two of my favorite people are celebrating an anniversary, and believe me, they deserve... I think if I start a Zeb Bell Hall of Fame, they're going to be right there at the front of the line. Dal and Helen Bradley. Dal and Helen Bradley, happy anniversary today. Thank you so much for all that you do and all you are. Thank you very much. Don't forget SafeLink Internet. Wonderful people. No contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data the first month free installation. You're going to love it. It's Idaho's #1 choice for wireless internet, 18 years and counting. SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. That number again to get on the service like we've got right here at Zeb at the Ranch, 677-8000. Give them a call today. Oh, and by the way, too, my friends over at Daryl's Cleaners, I really urge you that if you are going hunting and you got some of the late hunts or whatever and you haven't had that sleeping bag clean since last year, I wouldn't want to crawl in that puppy. Hey, listen, get them cleaned at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And they can clean anything and have it look and smell brand spanking new. Daryl's Cleaners, and they are located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Caller, thank you for your call. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you get your birthday present yet? I sent it in the mail.
Did I get... Oh, that's it right there? Oh, my goodness. She just handed it to me.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, wait a minute. $1,000.
No.
$1 million.
Yep.
And it's a rubber check. Doug, when I looked up and saw, she just handed it to me. Honestly, that's a true story. She just handed it to me.
I know. We had it all planned.
And it says, happy birthday to Zeb, $1 million. And when I saw all those zeros, I mean, I'm not accustomed to seeing all those zeros, unless it was a term paper that I turned in college. And it said $1 million, and then I took it out of the paper, and it says rubber as rubber can be.
It's on Ricochet Savings and Loan.
Ricochet Savings and Loan. Listen, don't do that to me, because, here I thought I'd won the lottery, and then all of a sudden you pulled the rug right out from underneath a guy on crutches. That's not funny.
I know. That's mean, isn't it?
Well, hey, how are you on Columbus Day?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Oh, I tell you what. Are you worried about celebrating Columbus Day? Are you worried about not being politically correct?
Why should I start now?
I know. Isn't it silly, Doug? All the people that have climbed out of the woodwork to disavow Columbus Day. You know what? I'm going to say Happy Columbus Day. And Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. I don't give a rip about all the new people and the millennials and everything else. They say, well, I'm not going to celebrate Columbus. He was a bad guy. I'm going to celebrate it. A lot of the banks and everybody else is closed, so let's have fun.
Well, if it wouldn't have been for Columbus, everybody'd be over there in Europe fighting all the Muslims that have invaded Europe.
I'll tell you what, and they're coming here.
They are. I mean, these people best wake up, see what's happening over there, and know dadgum good and well it's going to happen here.
A lot of the government leaders over in Europe right now, and I wish CSI and the Times News would get on an airplane and fly over and start taking interviews with them. They are throwing their hands up in the air, and there is utter chaos in a lot of situations. But why in the world are we inviting the same problems in here? Now, I know for a fact that some of the refugee planes have already come in last week in the evening and are unloading with a lot of refugees from Syria. And I'm just going to come right out and say it. They are Muslim refugees, and I'm very concerned.
I am. I'm very concerned also, because what I've seen starting to happen over in Germany, where they just went ballistic over there, started protesting.
Well, and the thing is, the Times News has a very unaffectionate way of treating us that do not agree with this. We either hate mongers or they demonize us, they question our intelligence and everything else. But if you will look, and I've saved every single letter to the editor from the Times News and put it in a file, every one, regarding the refugee center and the problems with the refugees and the concerns about the refugees. And I think that we, the people of this Magic Valley, are showing concern, and we are in the majority, not the minority.
Exactly. And I'd love to see the Times News do exactly what its title says, news.
Yeah.
We don't give a rat's side about your opinion.
Yeah.
Like you don't care about our opinion.
Well, they know I'm pretty doggone vocal against the refugee center, and I'm not the only one, but they know I'm very vocal about it. But have they ever called me and asked me my opinion as to why I'm concerned? My concerns are economics. My concerns are for health reasons. My concerns are for purely inviting, quite frankly, the enemy into our midst. And nobody's going to correct me on that because it's been proven to happen in Minnesota, New Jersey, and other places. Have they ever asked our concerns? No, because they're trying to sweep that under the rug in a group called hate mongers.
Exactly. They've never read the story or on history on the Trojan horse, have they?
You know, that's a good analogy to put it that way, but I'm going to keep on fighting this, and I'm not the only one. Like I said, I've been cutting out every letter, and I'm not going to name people without their permission, but one in particular that was in the paper in the last couple of days, I think that the junior college, namely CSI and the Times News, should stop labeling people, and I don't mind being called a concerned citizen, but I hate being called a bigot and a hate monger.
I do too. You know, they use names when they have no facts to back their stance. And what I'd love to see and know is how much money is being given to CSI and who is getting the money.
The events that are unfolding at CSI and I'm just thinking this was nothing more than just frosting a cake. When they had that meeting a couple of weeks ago, all it was just a dog and pony show to make everybody think, oh, they're wonderful, they're doing such a great service to the community, and they're helping all these refugees. Oh, gosh, let's all trip down the road of Oz and tie the yellow ribbons. It's wonderful. Well, it's not. There's a lot of concerns, there's a lot of worries, there's a lot of bona fide and verified worries, Doug. And the college and the Times News, they are not responding to what I would say is the bulk of the community.
Exactly. And let them move into their neighborhoods. I'll bet you these refugees aren't living in the neighborhoods where the president and the higher-ups and the CSI live. I got to do a commercial break, but I want to say this to you, and I want your response. I am not willing, and people can hang the hate monger or bigot label on me if they wish. I couldn't care less about those people. I am not willing to give up the culture, underline that word, of a Western town, Western community, and have it infiltrated and possibly sliced up like a pizza for Middle Eastern ways, means, and attitudes. Exactly. I'm right there 100% with you, Zeb.
All right, Doug. And by the way, thanks for the money.
You betcha, sir. Don't spend it all in one place.
Thanks, Doug. God bless you. Hey, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-0459. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And, boy, I'm telling you, you folks are just sitting back going, oh, the weather's beautiful. My goodness, yes, we're not going to have any cold weather. Dream on. You better have that furnace filter ready to go when you click on that furnace for efficient heating. They've got all your heating and electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, stand by. I've got to announce the winner of last week's football game. big Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's Restaurant at 611 Overland and Burley. And the winner is, da-da-da-da! We couldn't hire a band, so da-da-da-da! Dorothy Silcox. Yes, Dorothy, congratulations! You are the winner with the closest to the final score and the winning team. So she's going to win the Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's Restaurant. You can stop in anytime, all the time you're hungry for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Caller, thank you so much for your patience. Go ahead.
And a good morning to you, Zeb.
Yes, my friend.
You know, just before you came on KVAR radio station, they said there was a petition going around that if we signed it and everything, possibly we could stop this intrusion. Have you heard anything?
Oh, yeah. I've had it on my program. I've had Rick Martin and others from the group that are against the refugee center going through the College of Southern Idaho, and we've talked about this, and I'm going to sign the petition. I am going to sign personally that petition myself because I do not want CSI involved in a refugee center. I do not want to bring in Muslims into this area. I do not want to supersede their needs and wants with people that are in destitute and needy and want needs here. There's a lot of things that I'm against. I'm going to start speaking out more, Keith, as more people should. I think the college and the Times News have bitten off more than they can chew, and now's the time to let them know they made a huge mistake.
You know, I didn't get to listen to you last week. We were in Salt Lake, and Nancy had an operation.
Oh, my goodness.
Home now and everything, but this is the first time I heard anything of it, and I think it's wonderful, but where do the people in Burley get this information?
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you asked that because I am in the process. I didn't get it done this morning before the program. I had guests here at my home, and I'm going to be talking to Rick Martin right after the show. I will obtain a copy of the petition. We'll see if we can't help with the signing of the petition, and believe me, be listening every morning because I'll have that information on this program. Now, back to Nancy. I think it's very important. Nancy was in the hospital. Deanne's writing that down. How is she doing? I want to know that.
She's doing good. We came home Saturday afternoon, and she had a pretty serious operation. Her intestines, in fact, they took 2 inches out of
I'm so sorry.
her intestine, and they said a lot of scar tissue and everything because she could just not eat anything with it. Nothing tasted good. She couldn't keep it down. It just rumbled around. And
well, I want you.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, but we spent from April till 1st of October with the hospital in Twin Falls, and they did nothing for her. And I went to Salt Lake to a doctor down there, and it took him 10 minutes to look at all the scopes and everything that they'd taken to determine what the problem was. And exactly 1 week later, she was operated on.
Well, I'm going to say this.
For 6 months.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to say this, Keith. You know our thoughts and prayers are with you and Nancy. And if she's listening this morning, Nancy, God's blessings to you. And I know we'll get a card in the mail to her today. I got to run and do a commercial, but please, the very best to you and her. Thank you so much.
Okay, and this one more thing.
Real quick, Keith.
What it's going to do to property values if Muslims come into our community.
I think we're going to see a drastic lowering. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything regarding this refugee mess. It's a mess. I'm not in favor of it, and I think we're going to see devastating lowering of property values. I think we're going to see everything in disarray as far as community involvement, etc. I don't want that part of their culture in my culture. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yes, and I'll sign.
All right, Keith. Thank you very much. Hey, best to Nancy. That's a wonderfully nice lady. Don't forget your Valley Country stores. And if you're not aware of where the Valley Country stores are, Jerome, Buell, Gooding, Wendell, Shoshone, Bellevue, and and Rupert at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Now, again, going back to the weather forecast, Gina painted a very pretty picture of, it's going to be nice, it's going to be loverly, and we're going to be wearing shirt sleeves. But you know that's going to come to a screeching halt pretty quick, and we're going to get chilly. You're going to go out in the morning, and you're going to say, whoa, enough with this nylon windbreaker. Let's get something warm. Well, they've got all the winter coats, flannel shirts, gloves, hats, boots, everything you might need at your Valley Country stores. And nice people, too. That's right. That's the main thing. And the Valley Country store at 910 South Oneida in Rupert, nice people serving you. You stop in and see them today. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Let's see, we got that. Now, real quick, too, before I forget, Mini-Cassia Sales. I just absolutely think the world and all of Zach and the whole crew over there. And they sponsor Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. And boy, now is a great time to give them a call or stop in at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, or call 878-2091 and upgrade your windows before old man winter and old Father Frost, they start knocking on the door. Well, they've got the Western windows that'll really help save on your heating bills. So call them today at Mini-Cassia Sales. Stop in 1321 East Main Street in Burley, sponsoring, of course, Dr. History. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I'm saying this, and I am going to be a little snide when I say this. A little snarky. But I remember vividly some of the people that kind of snickered and tee-heed at me about a year ago, 2 years ago actually, when I had drawn up in the South Hills and for deer. And I said on the radio when I came home, I said, you know what? We saw a great big wolf print in the snow up there. Oh, you didn't see a wolf print? What's the matter with you? There's no wolves in this area. And it was a growing list of calls that made fun and a mockery of me. I'll never forget that. And I thought, well, after all the calls, maybe I'm dead wrong and there aren't any wolves up there. Maybe everything I heard from other people was wrong. Maybe my lion eyes, did not notice that was a wolf track. Au contraire, because now, even in the illustrious Times News, they have put together a map of 2013 and 2014 wolf sightings in southern Idaho. And son of a gun, 2013 is exactly when this happened. I'll be doggone. And some of the areas on this little bitty map, southeast of Twin Falls, exactly the area where I saw the wolf prints. Isn't it amazing how maybe those that made jocular fun and poked fun at me, now I'm laughing back at them. Wolves are in this area. Whether they are traveling through or whether they've got a pack up there, they are up there, and there's a lot of good people, ranchers that are friends of mine, etc., that have seen those wolves, and they're not going to back down, and neither am I. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Just hang on a second. I'll be right there with you. I also want to mention to you about Mount Harrison Audiology, and they've got the hearing screenings for you. This lady, Christine Pickup, is such a nice lady, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and she knows so much about hearing. And you should be treating your hearing losses because it reduces the strain and makes hearing more natural when you take care of things and keeps your brain healthier. That's what I need. By taking care of your hearing. All of this at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Please, don't pass up on hearing everything that's going on around you. Call for an appointment today, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Call her real quick, and then I've got a contest to do. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Bell. I just want to comment on our appreciation dinner for former Senator Cameron. I thank everybody that participated. It turned out very well. Really good speakers. And, we're always jump on these kids. It really messes up. And we had a group of kids there, kids, young adults, lesson tables and motion colors and all that. And they stood as tall and proud as anybody there.
Well, it was an absolutely, it was a great event. It was a great event for former Senator Dean Cameron and his family. They were all there, and a lot of folks came in. A lot of folks had good words to talk about Dean when we had kind of an open forum. It was just very, very well done. But the real thanks and kudos go to you and your wife, Donna, George Mass, because you put it all together.
Thank you, Zeb. I accept the compliment, but it took the community to make it come out like it did. And that's the ones I want to thank, is everybody that was involved.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, sir. It was very nice Saturday over at the Rupert Elks, and George and his lovely wife, Donna, kind of nailed that thing together and did a great job. Gary Shoresman and many, many more. Thank you so much. Caller, real quick, and then I got to do a contest. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, and I called you about 2014 and told you I seen a wolf up on Dead Vine Ridge.
Right.
And it was probably 20 feet from me.
Uh-huh.
I was in my car, and it wasn't a bit scared of me. It was growling at me and, making them ugly faces they make. But I've seen at least one down by Jackpot and one on Dead Vine Ridge.
I see.
Over the years. And I'll be one of them that'll testify with you. It was there. I seen it. It was too big to be a coyote. Really didn't walk like a coyote or even look like a coyote.
That's right.
And I think it's just a cover-up on the part of the people that want to protect them things.
I agree with you, Jerry.
Admitting that they are around.
All right. Jerry, thank you. I got to get a contest in here. God bless you, man. Thanks. Have a great day.
You bet. You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
He already has. Thank you very much. Hey, it's time to give away a half dozen cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. You can win a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls, and all you have to do is call if you're the winner and tell them when you're going to go in and pick them up. 436-0354. Call first so they can have them ready for you, okay? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Sophie's Chatterbox. And by the way, order your Halloween cookies now. Right now for Halloween so they can have everything set to go for you. Here is the question, and it's for first-time winners only, okay? What was the name of the Western movie that co-starred Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner? What was the name of the Western movie that co-starred Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hurry, hurry, first-time winners. What was the name of the Western movie that co-starred Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Magnificent Santa.
Who is this?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, what's your last name?
Armstrong.
Lorraine, you are the winner of the cinnamon rolls at Sophie's Chatterbox. Call them at 436-0354 and tell them when you'll be in there to get them, okay?
Okay, great.
Yep, thank you. Lorraine Armstrong is right. It was the Magnificent Seven. They had some really good actors in that movie, and Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen were the only two that rode off into the sunset. One guy stayed back, and he got married to a Mexican gal down there in Mexico, but I'll tell you what, Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner, that Magnificent Seven. Don't. Remember that? Okay. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, that is good. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, by the way, I hope I say this word right, ASTYM treatment, A-S-T-Y-M. I think it's ASTYM or ASTYM, I'm not sure, at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And they have a therapy that addresses the cause of your pain, not just your symptoms. They really understand what's going on with pain. They understand what's going on with arthritis and recovering from injuries and broken bones and everything. They know all the exercises and the sports medicine, and they got at the hydrotherapy pool. I mean, hey, Nick Greenwell and his physical therapist really can help you get back to being you. Call them or stop in. Number to call, 678-1191 for an appointment at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Really good folks. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I heard one of the lamest, dumbest, absolutely worthless excuses the other day. In the news, a Florida college. Now, this ought to just infuriate you. It should. If you believe in, like I do, the red, white, and blue of this great United States of America, the greatest country ever on the face of the earth, and is now, even though we got a bunch of nincompoops that are running it. Did you hear that Hillsborough Community College has stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance at their various college meetings because they said it takes too much time? Folks, look at the second hand on your watch. Look up at the clock on the wall and watch the second hand and say the pledge. Approximately 12 seconds. 12 seconds. And this college, Hillsborough Community College in Florida, said, well, it just takes too long. Why, we just can't do it at these meetings. Why, it takes too much out of the meetings. 12 seconds? You tell me, audience, that we're not losing our patriotism to idiots. Lady put a little bitty flag. The flag was to honor her son who had lost his life, and also to honor others in the military. Little flag. It was only about maybe 6 inches wide by 8 inches long. Put it up in her window in her condominium unit. And the condominium unit went crazy. They went berserk. We got to get that flag down. Why, we can't have that flag displayed in that window. We're losing our patriotism to idiots. We're not standing up. We're not looking them right straight in the eye and telling them to get out of Dodge City and shut up and sit down. We're the majority. And we're being treated like we're in the minority. How could anybody with a half-baked brain stand up in front of a television camera, a news camera, and be interviewed by a news person and say, well, we just stopped doing the pledge because it takes too doggone much time? 12 seconds. I'll stand behind what I said. We are losing our patriotism to idiots. Oh, boy. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, that leads me to tell you this. I almost forgot. About 8 months ago, and I would love to mention the guy's name in this area. Oh, he called and complained. Oh, my goodness, stop doing that Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sick of that before your program starts. Well, I was almost arrested for assault and battery, but needless to say, I will never stop doing the Pledge of Allegiance on this program. More so than the minuscule amount that complain, more people say, hey, way to go. For the 12 seconds that it takes to say the Pledge of Allegiance to this, the greatest country ever in the history of mankind, this old fat boy is not going to back down. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, this is the thing, you know. Again, when we have been given much is expected. And again, if you believe in God at all, you will be held accountable for what you did or didn't do. and omitting a pledge to the country that God has blessed us with, and is, again, risky business at least.
Can you honestly, Randy, wait a minute, can you honestly, I got to ask you this, and I'm not trying to hurry you along, but I'm trying to hurry you along. I got to get into a commercial. But can you honestly tell me that you don't have 12 seconds a day to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely not, and it's just like, I'm too busy to raise my kids. I'm too busy to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I make mistakes every day, and I have to, be accountable.
Yep.
Repent. And if I want to somehow navigate the uncertainties of this thing, I have to have something, the Spirit, if you say, however you believe in it, to guide me through it, because there is no man on earth that can help me to guide myself and my family through this uncertainty. And when you're angry, because like yesterday, the interview with, Obama on that 60 Minutes on CBS, they're such cutting-edge, caring people. It's just so infuriating. You just want to crawl through and say, listen, you sorry.
Easy.
So sick of it.
Yeah.
Sick to death of it. One quick thing, and then I'll let it go, because I know you got to go. One thing about Trump, Carson, and yesterday Labrador, he was on, I don't know where Labrador was on, he was on a national show, and he tried to pin him down, and they said, no, you're wrong, this is not how it was. And when our leaders stand up and correct the media that tries to paint this crap in a way they want it to go, and we straighten them out, we start to gain ground.
Yep. Here's the thing, and Randy, honestly, think about this. Everybody is so concerned about political correctness, they forget about the honest truth. And they'd rather be PC and follow the herd that's running over a cliff than they would stand up and say, no, this isn't right. I had a guy threaten me the other day on the phone. He called me up on my cell phone and he said, I'm going to go after your sponsors. We're going to get you thrown off the air. I said, hey, do it. Exhaust every effort you can to put forth your right of freedom of speech and try to get me thrown off the air, but don't you dare expect I'm going to change my way.
See, this is what happens when you can't logically, articulate your side of the issue, then you attack and call names.
Yeah.
One thing more. We're talking about this revolution. Well, whether or not it's bloody or peaceful, I think it's starting out to be a peaceful, good thing. But this Speaker of the House thing, the Democrats might want to make it look like we're in disarray, but what we are is we're flushing the crap, and in the end, I believe we're going to end up with something that is better than we could imagine.
I agree. I got to run and do a commercial right now, Randy, but I tell you what, I think the decision possibly to draft and push into that Speaker of the House seat, Paul Ryan, is a good choice. Got to run. Thank you.
Right.
All right. Hey, don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental. Oh, these are good people that have all the equipment to get the job done right. All the Bobcat skid steer loaders. Oh, my goodness. They've got all the Coyote tractors. They've got the equipment for the job that you need to get done. You don't know how to run the equipment? Hey, don't worry about it. Just go on in there and they'll teach you. Yes, sirree, Bob, they serve you, whether you're leasing or buying. And don't forget they got the big Doosan loaders, too. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, Saturdays 8 to 5. The best in Twin Falls on Addison Avenue West, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Yes, sir. Berry Equipment and Rental. They've got the equipment to get the job done right. It is time for the weather forecast, and then we'll take some more of your calls. And the weather this hour is brought to you by Mad River Laser. Have you been in there? I'm telling you, do this. Write down on your notepad today I'm going to Mad River Laser. Yeah, it's 502 East Street in Rupert. Once again, 502 East Street in Rupert. Mad River Laser, and they've got all kinds of neat things in there. They got a gift shop in there with all kinds of home decor items, and they've got all the Halloween and fall goodies, and for all your awards for your business and everything, and just everything. Football jerseys with the names on them. This Nicole and her crew can do anything at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Right there on the square. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do kick off another work week. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, but not too bad. Expect a high of 77 tonight, low of 44 tomorrow. Pretty much the same. Looks like sunny skies, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. 80 for Wednesday with an overnight low of 45. We're going to remain in the mid-70s to upper 70s pretty much for the rest of the week. Maybe by Sunday and into next week, temperatures could be cooling off to the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 65. Sunset tonight is at 6:57. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina, and thank you to Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. That is a fun place to go visit. Believe me, let me tell you. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is ringing in right now, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric, offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump, oh yeah, you and your family will enjoy the comfort of Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Hey, good morning, Zeb.
Hello, Tony.
Hey, we can see where this country's going. It looks like Bergdorf's going to get a pass. Can't use the name Redskins anymore.
Yeah.
The people on Social Security won't be getting a raise next year, but there'll be plenty of money for this welfare bunch to pour into the country.
You know, let me stop you there for a minute. I had to laugh, a very sardonic laugh, over the idiocy and incompetency of saying that Social Security's not going to get extra money next year because lower gas prices. Don't give me that garbage. That is nothing more than a governmental ploy to get gas prices higher like they are in California right now, and that's exactly what Obama wants. I mean, this is such a systematic ploy by this administration. I'm infuriated with our stupidity for not standing up and saying, go away, Obama and your administration. You're wreaking havoc on our economy and you're destroying our country.
Well, the biggest laugh I got was the last time that Putin and Obama met, and they were shaking hands, and at that time I realized that it was Putin thanking Obama for turning the Middle East over to him.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm going to be talking a little bit next hour at about 10:15 about this interview on CBS with Obama. And honestly, it was hard for me to watch that interview because it made me almost want to throw one of my Justin boots right through the TV screen. Tony, I can't do that. Televisions are too expensive.
I know. God bless Trump. I'm behind him 100%.
All right, my friend. God bless. Say hello to lovely Mary.
Certainly would.
All right, thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I thought we were trying to get the government out of our education system, and now the mayor of Burley wants to take the rabbits out of the teaching situation in Burley.
You know, I got to be honest with you, Bob. I have not followed exactly everything that's going on with the Bunnygate, nor do I really care. I got to tell you that the world in such disarray right now, I'm not going to worry about a few rabbits that are being raised for a school educational facility. I'm sorry, but it is not on my top 10 list of worry about.
Well, I agree with you. It's a minor thing, but I thought when we got this new mayor got this mayor elected, I thought that things would change in Burley, but you know, they haven't. I'll just hang up and thank you.
Hey, Bob, wait a minute. Bob, wait a minute. Don't hang up. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay,
here.
still. Well, you know, I am against. I'll say this: if I lived in town and my neighbor had a bunch of doggone chickens that were out there all the time and then crowing early in the morning, yeah, I wouldn't like that. But you know, we're talking about a few rabbits at a high school. Come on, Bob, what's the big deal?
That's what I can't understand. What's the big deal?
Okay, I agree.
I'd like to get about 50 roosters and put them right outside the mayor's window and let them start crowing and see what he can do.
You're a nasty old man, Bob. Thank you. All right.
Hey, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. You know, I'm not going to get worked up about a few bunny rabbits, for Pete's sakes. I'm not going to start, bunny gate. Oh, my goodness, this is terrible. With the state of the world, we're going to heck with over maybe, 5, 6 rabbits. Of course, numbers will probably increase. I got more fish to fry right now and worry about my family, the security, the economy. My goodness sakes, with ISIS and all the refugees. Man, I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over some rabbit. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, coming up on November 19th, don't forget the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner at the Golden Heritage Senior Center at 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley on November 19th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Door prizes, and by the way, you do not have to be present to win. Oh, that's a good thing. You can eat and boogie. Do whatever you want. It's going to be a great dinner, too. Entertainment, all kinds of fun on November 19th at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Bo Bergdahl was mentioned a few moments ago. And I think it's worthy of finding out how you feel about this. I have heard, I have listened to, and I have watched many, many veterans on television over the last couple of days. I have listened to various radio programs on a national level with veterans calling in. And for this case of a deserter and possibly a traitor, not possibly even getting jail time, it sickens me. I had a lady about 2 weeks ago say to me, well, that boy's from Idaho. You should be more sympathetic to him. No, I'm not at all. I don't care if he lives right down the road here in Murtaugh from me. If you're a deserter, and possibly, through the court findings, a traitor, I'd even go and say that I agree with Donald Trump. He should be shot for being a traitor to the greatest country of the world, United States of America. At a minimum, most all of the veterans that I have listened to and that I have respect for have stated that Bergdahl should at least get 5 years in prison and a dishonorable discharge. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Go.
Yeah, sorry, Zeb. Boy, he should be shot. A traitor like that.
Let me ask you.
I can't believe they turned him loose with nothing.
Fred, let me ask you this. It's not a done deal yet that they're going to turn him loose, but let me ask you this. You are a veteran of our great country, served in the Navy. Now, let me ask a speculative question of you. What would have happened back in your day of serving in the military had Bo Bergdahl done this at that time?
Well, I'm sure he's been put in front of the firing squad.
How times have changed, right, Fred?
How times have changed, I guess.
Let me ask you one other quick question about patriotism. I was watching some of that Million Man March, of which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on this morning, but that was one of the most despicable displays of anti-Americanism that I've ever seen. It made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, I can't believe how it's changed. Well, there isn't the patriotism there used to be, Sam.
Well, there will be on this program, and nobody's going to change it unless somebody gets enough power.
I know you're really patriotic, as I am.
Well, and I thank you for your service. I thank you for your great American attitude. You are a dear friend, Fred Preston. God bless you.
Thank you for yours, because you preach it every day over the radio.
Oh, thank you, sir. And I got to do a commercial quick, Fred, but God bless you and Joyce. Thank you. That is a man I have a lot of respect for. He and his lovely wife, Joyce. Thank you very much, Fred. I appreciate you. And I'll tell you what, there's a man that you'd better not be doing anything un-American or anti-American around him. He might be an older gentleman, but I'll guarantee you I sure wouldn't want to test him. Look out, boys and girls. Attaboy, Fred. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I almost choked to death there. Excuse me. Everything's well now. They've got all the tires you need for your safe driving, and I mean all your tires. They've got a lot of tires on sale, like the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, all-season design, up to a 65 to 80,000 mile warranty, depending upon driving conditions. Holy smokes! Stop in and see them today. All 7 locations. All the front-end alignment, shocks, and struts. The best in brake service. All the batteries. Everything at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. 30 seconds, caller, real fast, and then I'll have to cut you off. Go ahead, real quick.
I love to hear Fred when he talks. He reminds me of my father. And my dad said that there were 3 things in life that are important. Your loyalty to your country, your loyalty to your God, and your loyalty to your family. And first of all, you need to be loyal to your country and our flag.
There you go. Chris, great way to end this hour. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. That was well stated. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. Got to run. I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Holy cow, look at that blue sky. That's pretty. That is pretty. Southern Idaho at its best in the fall. October 12 on the calendar. Good morning. I'm Zeb at the Ranch, Zeb Bell, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Really, really nice people. Along with some of our great advertisers, including all the Valley Country stores. Yep, and especially the one right over there at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Hello, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at the Valley Country stores, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always the Georgia shores of Western Waste Services. We care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your
Western Waste Services, and I'll tell you what, get on the route service and have your garbage picked up weekly. Man, I'll tell you what, nicest guys in the world, and you can almost set your watch by the time they're going to get there and get rid of your garbage. That's right, call today, always at your disposal, 734-6969. Locally owned and operated, Western Waste Services, serving you. Really good folks. Hey, by the way, don't forget every morning we start the program off with our weather forecast at 8:07, and Cheney Flooring and Home Design is the sponsor of that forecast, and whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. All the carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items. Yeah, you better get a hold of them today. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. We mentioned last hour, and I want to quickly say this, that our Denny's High School Football Game of the Week, where we give away a free Grand Slam breakfast, and this week the winner, Dorothy Silcox, and she is jumping around up and down and just doing little pirouettes and everything. She won. And thanks to Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. We do appreciate that. Thank you so much. You know, and some really good folks, really, really good folks that are very concerned about the community, and they're very concerned about you. And that's, of course, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And, of course, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff really taking the time and the effort to serve your family and take care of everything when a loved one passes away. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please call them today, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. We're going to go to the phone lines right now on Columbus Day, 1492. He sailed the ocean blue. You know, it took a lot of nerve to sail the ocean back in those days, Doug Johnson in Colorado. I wouldn't have done it, would you?
I think it still takes a lot of nerve. Yeah, no, in fact, I've thought about it. I lived in Europe, especially in Britain, at the time that our country was founded. When my ancestors came over in 1625, I've wondered if I would have been willing to take the trip or not.
You know, when you think about it, those leaky old boats and those leaky old ships, and there you are, and you're in the middle, kind of at the point of no return, like crossing the Atlantic to come here to the new country or leaving from Portugal or whatever. I don't think so, Dougie.
Yeah, it's a very scary thought. And when you read the real history of what happened, for example, to the Pilgrims, it was not an easy trip. They had a ship that was falling apart. Like you say, it was leaking. They barely made it. And on top of that, the rough voyage and the sickness and all the things that went along with it, it was a major undertaking, and a very dangerous undertaking for people to try to do something like that.
Well, just think of the food. I mean, my goodness, they were suffering from scurvy and everything else, but my goodness, trying to get a decent meal, it's not like you're going to get a bell rung and have everybody go to the ship's dining room and have dinner with the captain. It wasn't like that.
No, and I'll be honest with you, I get so motion sick that I probably wouldn't have been able to keep anything in anyway. I wouldn't have eaten for the 3 weeks or whatever it takes to get across the Atlantic. And I think 3 weeks was, if it was a good voyage. If it was a bad one, it could take longer.
No kidding. When you talk about bad voyages, gee, it's funny how you can dovetail that right into this administration and the tenure that they have left on their days in office. This is really a bad voyage with Obama.
I missed that last part, Zeb. It's very hard to hear this morning.
Wheels, you got to turn it up a little bit so Doug can hear, please. Turn it up in his ears a little bit. I said that when you talk about a bad voyage, you've got to talk about this administration. This is really a bad voyage with Obama.
Yeah, that may be the understatement of the day, Zeb. Yeah, extremely bad. And I think we're in for the worst part of the voyage yet. I think that the closer we get to the end, the worse he's going to be.
Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about what he said yesterday or didn't say on CBS. He was being interviewed on 60 Minutes, and he thought his leadership qualities were far excellent than anybody else's, and he said his leadership on climate change is more important than fighting ISIS, and I about fell off the chair.
Yeah, I heard he said that, and of course, let me preface by saying he doesn't know what a leader is. Most people don't, and he certainly doesn't. But that said, but this all comes down to, he's in this for his agenda, and in his mind, his view of leadership is accomplishing his goals, not what the American people want or what America needs, but what his goals are for America. And so to him, this is leadership. And sadly, we have a number of candidates running that believe in climate change and believe in the cap and trade stuff that he wants to put through, not just on the left. We have, for example, Carly Fiorina on the right. She believes in it. And this is scary stuff, because if we think the economic state we're in now is tough. It would absolutely wipe us out if we enter into something like this.
There's no question about it. And one of my lunch bunchers, once a month we have a lunch bunch, and we have a big dinner over at Denny's restaurant. One of my lunch bunchers a long time ago made the statement, God has his hands on the thermostat, not man.
That's very well said. I think that there is an arrogance in people who think that man has that much power over nature. All it takes is to observe a natural disaster to realize how much power we do not have. And if you live through one, or through many, as I have, you find yourself saying, we are nothing. We are a speck of dust compared to what all of creation is. And even if you don't believe in God, if you just believe in nature, the power of nature is so overwhelming, it's ridiculous. And I defy anybody to prove to me that man actually has the ability to destroy the planet.
Absolutely.
I don't think we can.
As far as destroying politics, boy, we've got both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, that are doing their best to destroy politics and party volunteerism, if you will. The Republicans are in disarray, but I will say this, and I'm prejudiced when I say this. I believe of the candidates that are out there possibly to take over as Speaker of the House, I like my old Wisconsin buddy from Janesville, 18 miles away from my hometown, Paul Ryan. I honestly believe he can pull it together. What are your thoughts?
He scares me because he's pro-amnesty and he's pro-Obama trade. That scares me a lot. He's pushed hard for those things, and I think he is intellectually an intelligent man, but and certainly probably has the skills to run it. But I personally don't see anybody running that that impresses me at all. I personally think, and they won't do it because of their egos, but the law does not require them to choose somebody in the House as a speaker. They can choose somebody from the outside. I think they should go outside the House, get a good, solid constitutional conservative in there. I'm thinking somebody along the lines of, and this will shock a lot of people, but I said it actually when Kevin McCarthy, the very day he announced he was dropping out of the race, that he announced he was running for the House Speaker position. So long before he announced he was dropping out, I said that they should go after Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, because there's nothing in the Constitution that says they can't.
That's right.
He's a good, solid conservative. Or if not him, take one of the presidential candidates who clearly doesn't have a chance to win, somebody like a Governor Bobby Jindal, and get them, people who have the spine to stand up to Obama and not just cozy up to the Democrats. So I lean at this point against everybody that they've been talking about.
I will say this, though, that as long as this mess goes on and they do not have the 218 votes to put someone else in that capacity, the media, with their hateful rhetoric, they are going to continue to chew and spit out the Republican Party, and everything about the Republicans, everything will be negative. Something has got to be done, and I would say in short order.
Well, everything always is negative about the Republicans, so that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, they'll keep chewing on them, and there's no doubt about that. On the flip side, I think that that we have a situation where the House will has a greater threat in that John Boehner is going to stay till they do something about this, and that to me is the greatest danger. So I think it should happen fairly quickly, so we can get him out of there.
Let me throw this at you, Doug. I sat there this weekend in my geezer chair, and I watched quite a bit of the news and what was happening in the news. Naturally, there were some football games that I also wanted to watch and some baseball games with my cubbies. But when I started following the Million Man March in Washington, D.C., I got to be very honest with you, my dear friend. As I said first hour, I almost pulled off one of my Justin boots and threw it at my new 60-inch TV. That was as frustrating and as demoralizing as I've had to watch in a long time, with a group of anarchists against the United States of America, like Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Louis Farrakhan, and others. It wasn't anything inspirational. It was a hate USA gathering, and I found it repulsive.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Jeremiah Wright, he's up there preaching basically lies, saying Jesus was a Palestinian, which he wasn't. Farrakhan's up there twisting what we know the Bible says. But, of course, these are not men of God. These are not men of religion. These are men of communism under the guise of religion. And that's all the black liberation theology they espouse really is. And it's sad that people follow them. And the worst part is they are given more power, more freedom to do what they want because of this administration. Nobody's going to come down on them from this administration. They know they are not under any threat from this administration. They're not going to be held accountable no matter what they do. And this is the danger. And it's very sad. Now, you counter that, Zeb, to this weekend, Donald Trump did a rally down in the southern part of the country, got over 10,000 people there, and outside the rally, I saw a video of a black man who supports Trump, and he was ranting and raving. He said he'd never voted in his life before. By looking at him, I'd guess he was probably in his late 40s, early 50s, maybe even older. But he was saying that he had never voted in his life till Barack Obama, and then he registered and he voted for Barack Obama twice, and now he realizes he was bamboozled. Obama did nothing for the country. He lied to him, and this guy was going on and on about how we need Donald Trump. We need to forget about race. We need to think about being Americans. We need to come together. And I'm saying to myself, wow, what a difference compared to what you just described in their anniversary of the Million Man March. What a difference we have, and we need to be bringing this country together and rejecting things like that. But unfortunately, like I say, between this administration and also the media, all they do is hype these people up and give people like Jeremiah Wright and Louis Farrakhan way too much power.
There was a woman, and I'm being very polite in not saying anything extra about describing her. There was a black woman that stood up at the podium and absolutely denigrated and demonized the United States, saying, "Down, down, USA, down, down, USA." And then another simpleton, a young black man, got up at the podium and went on and on about the police forces in this country being nothing more than the blue Ku Klux Klan. I was absolutely enraged with this. This was nothing more than a rally of hatred for a country that has given and provided them the best living and lifestyle of anywhere in the world, and these blacks turned around and were biting the hand that literally is feeding them.
Well, they are, and what's sad is that they're not turning on this administration, who's done not only less but done more damage to their community than any administration in modern history. The state of the black community, economically, jobs-wise, every way you measure it, is so much worse than it was 8 years ago. It's so much worse than it has been in many, many decades. And sadly, so many of these people don't see it. They're not looking at what's causing the problem. They're not saying what fixes the solution, or what is the solution that will fix this. And this is unfortunate, but this is what's happening, and this is why it's important, I believe, that we stand behind, and I'm not saying necessarily support him for office. I like him a lot, but we stand behind a man like Ben Carson because we notice now the media is going after him. They're out to destroy him. Mm-hmm. The last thing they want is a successful black candidate. They did it to Herman Cain. They're going to try to do it to him. The beauty of Ben Carson is the more they push, the firmer he gets on his positions, and I think that says a lot about him as a person. But he really, really needs to have the American people stand behind him. Whether they vote for him in the end or not isn't the point. It's stand behind his right to run and his right to say what he thinks, because he represents the other side of that community that more people need to hear from.
Absolutely. Let me ask you about another story in the news, and for those of us here in the Intermountain West, in Idaho, this story takes on another close-to-home significance because it's a story about Bo Bergdahl, a deserter, possibly a traitor, and now the military, some of the big wigs in the military are advocating a no jail time for this man, and most of the veterans that I've talked to, most of the veterans that I've listened to are incensed with anger, and the general consensus is, at a minimum, this man should get at least 5 years in prison. What do you think about the story about Bo Bergdahl, the deserter?
Well, I guess first thing I'd say is we have to remember that the top brass in the military have mostly been replaced by those who support Obama and his progressive agenda.
That's right.
They are not the traditional military leaders that we are used to in America. There was a time when you could say that the military, especially leadership, would always take the conservative, strong America approach. We don't see that anymore. Now they're just politically correct. And so, sadly, what we're hearing from them is not what we would like to hear as citizens who love America. As for Bergdahl, I only know what I read, and I try really hard in those things to not draw too much of a conclusion without knowing all of it. But from everything I can see, and I qualify it with that Zeb, because I really like to be careful about passing judgment in a situation like this. But from what I can see and from what I know about it, to me, he is guilty of treason, and he deserves the appropriate punishment. And in my mind, that includes the death penalty.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I want to go back in our last couple of minutes here. I've got about 3 minutes left. And I want to ask you about a statement that Obama made during that interview with 60 Minutes. And he made a statement that right now, America under his administration is safer now than ever before. That's another one that made me scratch my head and almost fall out of my chair. How would you respond to that?
Well, I often challenge people to name a time Obama told the truth, because that's another example where it isn't. And he practices the old method of, if you repeat something long enough and loud enough, people will eventually believe it. And
right.
That's all he's doing. He's selling people on this is who he is and how great he is, and people who are paying attention at all know it's not true. I think, I hear something like that, I brush it off as just ridiculous. What concerns me more is when he repeatedly refers to our nation as a democracy when we're not. We're a republic, and there's a huge difference, and people need to understand that, because when you see us as a democracy, we are, and run us as a democracy, which he has done, you are setting the country up for an oligarchy. And that's right where we're headed. And this is what scares me the most. Him saying things are great under him, I guess he's not going to badmouth himself, but to me, it's foolish, and any American who's paying attention certainly knows it's not.
Absolutely agree with everything you said this morning, and I just want to say thank you very much for, again, coming on this program, especially on a day when it could be construed as a holiday. Columbus Day from 1492 sailed the ocean blue. By the way, what are your thoughts, real quick, Doug? I know you're very well-versed and well-read. This controversy about Columbus, to me, it's nothing but a bunch of balderdash. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it is, too. I think, if people understood more of the history than what they say, I think they would give Columbus more credit for what he did. But he's become a scapegoat, and it's sad. For some reason, these people today expect men of history, or men in history, to meet today's standards of what our society is or expects. They lived in the time they lived. They were what they were. It doesn't excuse everything they did or believed or whatever, but I think it just gets ridiculous how people look at these things. And so, to me, it's just a selective understanding of history that they have, which is sadly very inaccurate.
I thought that was very well stated. My dear friend, Doug Johnson back in Colorado. Hope the weather's as nice there as it is here. God's blessings to you, my dear friend, and we'll look forward to next Monday. Thank you, Doug.
Sounds great, Zeb. Talk to you then.
All right, take care. Really, really nice man, Doug Johnson, on the air with us this morning, and we appreciate him. Hey, I know some other place and some other people that you'll really appreciate, and that's Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Oh, my goodness. They've got a tremendous accessory department. I mean, for your four-wheeling and your snowmobiling and everything else outside, they've got the accessories. That's right. And a service department second to none. So please get in there today and enjoy. They've got great rebates on Suzuki 4x4s, and they got the new Timber Sled snow bikes in there. Oh, yeah, snow's right around the corner. And don't forget all of this and more at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 in Rupert, between Rupert and Heyburn, where the fun is sold. Really good, folks. Hey, don't forget to Cameron and Siemens Insurance. And talking about the Camerons, the great dinner we had for former Senator Dean Cameron this past weekend on Saturday. God's blessings, it was wonderful. Well, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, taking care of your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. And they are extremely focused on your successful future. So please call for an appointment today at 436-4424. Remember that number and call right now, 436-4424. In just a very few minutes, we are going to break away and go to the Alliance Defending Freedom. And this morning, instead of Kerry Kupek, we're going to have one of the attorneys on the air with us, Casey Maddox. Casey's been here many times in the past, and we're looking forward to having him back on again this morning. By the way, don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric can offer rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump. You and your family will definitely enjoy all the comfort. You better believe it. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money with warm winters and cool summers. Absolutely right. Later on this morning, I want to give you a little heads up. At 10:32 this morning, we are going to be blessed to have one of my favorite people on this program again. And when Obamacare was coming into fruition, when Obamacare was coming into being with all the insidious things that they've written into this absolutely destitute bill, we had Dr. Elena George on our program on numerous occasions. Well, now that Obamacare's been implemented and in force, she's going to come back this morning and give us a little lecture on where we're headed and how much it's going to cost us too. So don't miss that. She's coming up here in about another hour. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Oh my goodness, all your firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester, and all the ammo. And don't forget this, they've got all the top-notch people working there to help you with your selection. And great accessory department, too, at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. We're going to be having Ryan on the air with us in the next couple of days. And gunsmithing services right there at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to Alliance Defending Freedom and Casey Maddox, attorney for the ADF. Good morning, Casey. How are you?
Do you guys have a backup, sir?
I gave you the only number I had, and that was 202-888-7625. He's not available?
No, sir. I've tried calling him a couple times, and I have left a voicemail. I emailed Deanne about that, but I will continue to try.
Yeah, keep calling that number, and I'll get Deanne in here to see if we can't do a little follow-up.
Okay.
Occasionally, this happens when they do a switch of personnel to come on our program. And Deanne, if you would come in here, please, and try to take this form and get Casey on the phone, I'd appreciate that. Until then, the forum is open, and give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would like to run a little bit of a survey if Casey Maddox is not available, and I would like to find out what your thoughts are. We only live approximately 75 to 80 miles from where Bo Bergdahl and his family lived up in the Wood River Valley. And yes, there have been those that have voiced their opinion against me and my attitude against Bo Bergdahl for his, what I would say, traitorous attitudes towards the United States of America. What are your thoughts? Do you think that we should just basically say, oh, well, Bo, gee, you had a hard time in captivity and just let him go? Should we allow him to get his pension from the military? Or on the other side of the coin, as most all of the veterans that I've talked to, either on the air or have listened to across the country, voice their opinion, he should get a minimum of 5 years in prison for being a deserter and, like I said, possibly a traitor. What are your thoughts about this? Should we just basically say, oh, well, it's all over and let it go? Or should there definitely be jail time administered to Bo Bergdahl? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
It's just as interesting. The other day I was on a job and there was a young guy there, and I'd never met him. And his compadre working there, his friend, he said, he just got back from, he's in the Marines, and he just got back from, over in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Real fast, Randy. Randy, don't elaborate too much. Just go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, he was furious about what was going on with Bergdahl. And he said nobody in the Marine Corps that he knew, whether or not it was higher-ups or even the generals, agreed with anything that was being done by this administration, and then their feelings towards Obama were something I can't say. And you see, they are taking oath. They can't have an opinion in the Army, in the service.
Don't you feel, I'm going to ask you this and I'm going to take the next call, but don't you feel that there is a lot of pressure from the White House right on down through the chain of command to minimize Bo Bergdahl's story?
Oh, hell yeah. And the thing of it is these men that get maimed, whether or not it's half of their damn head blown off, and that's what's happened.
Yeah.
And they're living, and their legs are gone. They're unable to have children with their wife who was waiting patiently. This kind of thing. And then you've got this sorry...
Easy. Oh, okay, Randy, I'll take you down as a yes that he needs to be prosecuted. Thank you.
Don't you get tired of it, Dan?
I am sick and tired of it, absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
How are we doing this morning?
I'm good. Go ahead.
I think this was all part of the big plan. He wandered off. It was, in my opinion, I think he wandered off. It was all a big plan, and it was part of it. He would get off scot-free, and they got 5 of their head guys back.
Let me ask you this. You use the terms wandered off. I'm not buying it at all. I'm sorry. I'm much more critical of the situation. I think he left with a purpose. I think he left with a direction in mind. I think everything was planned, and I'm being much more cynical. I don't trust Bo Bergdahl as far as I could throw a Volkswagen.
Well, I don't either. Remember when his folks went to the White House, Obama was right there, and they made some sort of a Taliban gesture there or something right at the microphones or something. And
yeah, I mean, it was all a staged to-do, if you will, in favor of the Bergdahls, and I lay a lot of blame. If I'm passing out blame for desert, I'm laying a lot of blame on the White House. I'm laying most of the blame on Obama. I'm laying a lot of blame on our State Department for following through on such an idiotic deal as letting go 5 heinous killers for this traitor.
Zeb?
Yes, sir.
Zeb, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I want to make a quick announcement. Next Saturday, they're having a walk against the CSI program.
Okay.
Next Saturday at noon. I think it's going to start at the Winco parking lot.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, can you call me back or send me more information on it, and I'll keep publicizing it on the air, okay?
Yeah, I think, I'll get you all the information, but I think there's 100 people right from this area signed up that's going to go to it. So.
All right. I will appreciate that. Send it to me. Thank you very, very much.
Back to you.
All right, caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Dad. I served in the United States Navy from 55 to 58. And when we were at Long Beach, California, I was on board a carrier, went on Liberty, and was in a car accident, and on my head pretty good and everything. And they put me in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. When I been back to my ship, they immediately put me in the brig. The brig, in case people don't know, is a jail.
Right.
and I tried to tell them my story and everything, and finally they called the hospital and found out that it was legitimate and everything, and they let me go without any further charges. But that just goes to show you how much things have changed.
Absolutely. The attitude towards being absolutely a traitor or deserter has weakened in the years. Thank you very much, Keith. I got another call. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks. So far, every caller has been against letting Bergdahl off scot-free with nothing, not even a slap on the pinkies. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Zeb, I don't think they should imprison Bergdahl. I think he should be stand up in front of a firing squad and shot for desertion and trading to this nation. And the one that slapped the Afghanistan in there should be reinstated and put a medal on his chest.
You know, what you say is so absolutely poignantly true. For those in the audience, and I'm going to paraphrase because of time, there was a soldier over in Afghanistan that saw the molestation of a boy from an Afghanistani soldier and leader of the soldiering ranks over there in Afghanistan, and he tried to just literally beat this guy and let him know that in no uncertain terms that kind of lifestyle is not permitted, and he gets put on the carpet and probably going to get a dishonorable discharge. Meanwhile, Bergdahl deserts his post, possibly a traitor, and we trade 5 bad guys for him. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Thanks, Deb.
God bless you, sir. Thank you very much. Bye. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to make today. Anyhow, I feel just like that fellow that just talked now. He should be put in front of a firing squad. And the minute that I saw our illustrious, sweet leader walk out with his arm around Mrs. Bergdahl, and here come the father he looked just like a Muslim.
Yeah.
And he was sent over there to get information, to feed his cell that he's got here in Idaho.
I can't verify that because I don't know. That's speculative, Helen, and I don't know that to be a bona fide fact. But I will say I agree with you that he's getting off with just nothing more but a slap on the wrist. And by the way, to you and Dal, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. Thank you. After 63 years, you think we should be happy, huh?
You are, I'll bet you. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. I thought we had another caller. So far, that was 5 quick phone calls, bing, 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 that said, no, Bergdahl should not get off. And I was listening to a veteran on television this morning, and he was just, you could see the veins in his neck standing out. And he was mad, and he chose his verbiage very carefully about what to say about Bergdahl and what to say about this process. But you could tell that he was incensed that this man, Bergdahl, should not get off. He should serve at least 5 years prison time. And for what happened... And the desertion is a done deal. I mean, we know he deserted his post. But the court and the hearings and all the information and evidence to show perhaps that he was also a traitor, to me, they're just whitewashing that off. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
You can put me down. I don't think that guy should even take another breath. As well as our president and a whole bunch of other people.
You know,
all I have to say, and you have a good day.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. This administration, what they did in trading 5 very bad people, 5 killers, the vermin of the barrel, if you will, for Bo Bergdahl. And you know now, according to some of the reports that I've read and some of the people I've called and listened to back in Washington, D.C., etc., it has basically been confirmed that 3 out of the 5 are already back on the battlefield, already helping to plot and kill more of our American soldiers. Oh, gee, President Obama, what a great and smart trade you made. If I have another call, go ahead, caller. You're on the air. If not, I'll do the weather forecast. Anybody else there right now? Doesn't. Okay, thank you, Wheels. I appreciate it. By the way, Wheels, I don't know what happened to our guest, Casey Maddox, but thank you for trying. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be getting Jeff Poole on right now.
All right, well, just hang loose on that. I'll get this weather forecast on the way. And the weather this hour is brought to you by some really, really good people, some friends of ours, and that's Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Trimming and pruning and removal of all your tree limbs. And, don't forget to blow out those sprinkler systems. Yes, sir-ree, don't you let them freeze up this winter and cause all kinds of headaches. You get a hold of Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service right now. 438-2485 or 431-8733. Satisfaction is guaranteed. They can help you. So call Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service right now today. Here's the weather with Gina.
Here's your weather forecast as we do kick off another work week. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, but not too bad. Expect a high of 77 tonight, low of 44 tomorrow. Pretty much the same. Looks like sunny skies, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. 80 for Wednesday with an overnight low of 45. We're going to remain in the mid-70s to upper 70s pretty much for the rest of the week. Maybe by Sunday and into next week, temperatures could be cooling off to the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 65. Sunset tonight is at 6:57. That's your weather forecast for Zep at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. Like I said, get those trees taken care of before old man winter and the wind and the snow and those bad tree limbs are blowing around and maybe hitting your windows and everything. Get all the trimming and pruning done right now. And don't forget to get your name on the list to have your sprinkler systems blown out. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Call 438-2485 or 431-8733. Bringing you the weather this hour. Okay. By the way, I also want to remind you again, second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner, and we're going to be talking to Debbie Critchfield on this a little bit later on this morning, and it's going to be at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on November 19th from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., $10 per ticket, and don't forget, you do not need to be present to win the door prizes. We'll get your name and address and telephone number. If you win, we'll make sure you get the door prize. It's going to be a lot of fun on November the 19th. Don't forget that. I hear you clearing your throat, my friend. What's cooking?
Yes, sir. I just called in for Jeff, and he's not there, so I was not able to get his cell phone number, but if there's another way that we could, that'd be great.
Call 431-8581 right away.
Okay.
All right, call that number right away. Right away, please. We're going to have Jeff Poole with our friends at Scouts. This has been a morning where people aren't there when they should be, causing me great consternation. Let's see, what else have I got cooking for this hour? So far in the calls, we've had 6 people right in a row say, no, Bergdahl should not get off. Bergdahl should face his court-martial and jail time at a minimum. And I thank you for your calls here this morning. Oh, by the way, the state of chaos, California, says it is officially stopping the use of the word Redskins. You can't say Washington Redskins anymore. Oh, no, the word police will come out and get you. And if anybody wants to possibly use the logo, now I'm not sure if they're going to try to stop people from wearing the sweatshirts or anything, or some of the Washington Redskin paraphernalia like the caps and the jackets and everything. Boy, they better not come up to me and try to take it away. But anyhow, they're going to try to stop the use of the word Redskin and the logo Redskins in the state of California. So say goodbye and kiss away your free speech here in the great old U.S. of A. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's see if Jeff's there. Wheels, did you catch him?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, now I've got this going off, and Jeff is on the phone and ready to go. Scows, CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. And Scows, of course, with locations in Rupert, Hayburn, and Burley. Since 1949, every detail matters. And here is the Scows answer man, Jeff Poole. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, Ted. Good morning. How are you?
Boy, I thought we lost you there for a few minutes, but I'm glad you're on the program. Hey, last week we started talking a little bit about batteries, and I'm just going to say something. I'm not a mechanic. You know all about mechanics and all the different utensils and tools and everything for automobiles and trucks, but I would imagine in cold weather we're going to see much more of a strain on batteries, right?
Oh, for sure. Batteries are one of them things you don't realize you've got a problem with until it's dead. Leaves you sitting in the driveway or out on the side of the road. It's one of them things you definitely need to be checking on before it leaves you where you don't want to be.
Now, can people just come into Scows and have their batteries checked and find out if they're going to have enough turnover power to get that four-wheeled wonder going this winter?
Yeah, absolutely. Just, our locations all do battery testing, and, that's a free service that we give. Just want to make sure that our customers are, they got a little peace of mind knowing they're good to go for the winter.
Now, Jeff, here's a question I've got. With all the intricacies and all the different computerisms, if you will, on these vehicles, how careful do you have to be? Like in the old days, somebody's off on the side of the road, you just pull out a pair of jumper cables and start them, and they're on their way. Have things changed a little bit?
Well, it has changed. The cars are extremely sensitive now. The onboard computers are, it's amazing how much stuff is computer controlled now, and you still can jump everything. You just got to be doing it a little bit different. Some of them are directly to the battery. Some of them are off jumping posts on the vehicle. You just want to be careful where you're jumping from.
Okay. And now, I'm going to ask you something really dumb because I don't know this. With the cars in various sizes and pickups, of course, and other things, do you have to worry about smaller size batteries or different components that you might blow up?
Really not. I mean, you're okay that way, but it's just more important that you got to, you're jumping to where they want you to jump. It's voltage spikes, stuff like that. You want to avoid, but especially with the advent of these new style batteries, and that maybe we can kind of talk about that. These, again, absorbent glass mat batteries, referred to AGM. That's a technology that's really going to be in every car, I would imagine, before long.
Okay, now what is the difference with these batteries versus the old type?
Well, an old battery is what, is commonly called a lead-acid battery. It's full of lead plates with, an acid solution. These new ones are absorbent like glass mats. They've got a kind of a matted material in there, and they're packed and sleeved. So really the technology there, again, this is a really deep matter, but, basically the new batteries are put into an envelope, if you will. Each plate inside of a battery, just like a lead-acid battery, both have plates, but these guys are all separated and bonded from the top and bottom of the battery, and as the battery ages and rough roads, etc., parts of the material fall off the plate down in the bottom of the battery. Well, there's only so much space in between each plate, and as that falls off, that can cause a short between the two platelets. Eventually, that leads to a dead battery.
Well, let me ask,
or should I say, expired battery.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, and again, you're the answer man, and when it comes to being a mechanic, ain't going to happen with me. But now, are these batteries actually better, or are they not as good as the old kind batteries, especially for people that live in rural areas and travel on gravel roads?
Well, again, these new AGM batteries, they're far superior. Cranking amps is, it's really important. That is what starts the car, but at the same time, what makes these batteries different is what you just said. You're pounding them going down dirt roads like we have here. As this material falls off, I mentioned that these batteries have an envelope for every plate. So this stuff falls down in this envelope, so that therefore it can't touch the other platelets.
Oh.
And also, with these batteries, you use what we call a smart charger. You can actually re-stratify that battery for the stuff that's broken off and kind of get that liquid again, and it will re-stick to your battery.
I see.
So therefore, you're going to get a lot more life out of that battery. Also, with that being said, these batteries have a whole bunch more reserve capacity. So if you go out and you happen to leave a set of headlights on or a work light or whatnot, you're not going to come back to a dead battery.
Well, let me ask you this question then. I mean, for those of us that live in southern Idaho and travel around the Intermountain West, are there special tools that we need to consider having in the trunk of our car or in a toolkit in our pickup for charging other than just a set of chargers?
Well, if you're going to do an AGM battery, you can charge that with the conventional battery charger that everybody's got, but it's definitely best to charge those with the smart charger.
I see.
Again, that's going to be something that's going to be like the old battery charger. It's going to be the standard and should be in every house or every shop. To properly charge those batteries, that's a little bit different of a process. The charger is very specific to the battery.
Mm-hmm. Now, another question I've got, excuse me for coughing, hay fever time, Jeff, I apologize, is now that we're getting a little cooler, when and what precautions need to be taken with diesel engines, pickups, etc., in this cooler weather? What should we be looking at?
Well, you want to make sure you got a good clean fuel filter in there. Make sure your fuel's conditioned with Power Service, House. There's several brands out there that people like. All of our locations sell that product, and our experience has been that, usually these guys are behind the eight ball. They come in and they're already gelled up or they're already having problems. We suggest coming down and getting that product before you have a problem.
Right. And when you say products, are you talking about something that goes directly right into the diesel fuel itself?
Yeah, Power Service is, we'll just pick on Power Service. A gallon of that treats about 250 gallons of fuel. That's a must. Once the diesel gels up, it's either heading to the shop or, towing it back, and basically the truck's out of service until you get it unthawed and ready to go again.
Right. Now, this question I've got, Jeff, at what temperature, if there's a specific temperature, that a person needs to worry about and start plugging that diesel engine in every evening? What's the temperature that we should be thinking about?
Well, diesels they're not like a gas engine. They run off of combustion, so it's got to be able to crank over fast enough to get that action going, and the colder it gets, the slower they crank. So it's any time now we're going to start seeing some cold enough weather that they need to start thinking about that.
All right, and all of this material that we're talking about, whether it's batteries, whether it's diesel additives, everything, always at Skow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts, and they've got 3 locations. Skow's CarQuest in Rupert at 323 East 8th Street, Highway 25 in Rupert, CarQuest of Burley at 518 Overland in Burley, and the big Skow's Truck Center, I-84 exit 211 in Hayburn. And you're listening to The Answer Man. And, of course, that's Jeff Poole. Jeff, any final thoughts? Real quick, I got about 30 seconds left.
Come and check us out for our tools. We've got an amazing amount of hand tools, power tools, electric tools, just things to make your experience go a little faster, maybe make your shop more money, the farm more productive, or, the homeowner gets the job done a little better. So we've got a full line of, like I say, electrical, air, and hand tools, and come and see us and Better take care of you.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The answer man from Scows, Jeff Poole. Scows CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. Every detail matters. Jeff, God bless you, man. See you next Monday.
All right, take care, Jeff.
Thank you. Very interesting. I learn a lot every time I have Jeff on the program with Scows. Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate it. Hey, by the way, you are listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure everything you're hearing, and it's coming through loud and clear. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957 today. Thank you very much, our dear friends at Mount Harrison. We're going to take a little break for a few minutes and be back right after this break. Don't you go away. Oh my, here we go on the home stretch for this morning, the last hour, and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations here in the Magic Valley serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service, 734-6969, and the Valley Country Stores. Wonderful folks all over the valley at the Valley Country Stores, and also at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Great local folks serving you everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Well, let's take a look and see what we got here. Oh, the Chadwick Sports Grill. You know what? I've said this on the air many times in the past, and it's the truth. I love Monte Cristo sandwiches. Oh, and that is the special today at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Oh, my Monte Cristo sandwiches, super salad, and I'll tell you, they got a side with veggies. Oh, you're going to love it. Love it. The Monte Cristo sandwich at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley, along with all their other great menu choices. You stop in to the Chadwick in Burley. Really good folks. By the way, too, we have a segment on Thursdays called Cassia County School Days, and I want to say thank you to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley as one of the sponsors of Cassia County School Days. And don't forget that Tuesdays, tomorrow, always Grandparents' Day, where they can come in and shop for their grandchildren and get a 10% discount on their purchases. And they've got everything there for all the little babies, baby registries, everything else at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley. And our thanks also to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call and find out more information. If you know that you have a surgery coming up, then they can help you save money. Yes, check it out today at Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. And they bring you school days in Cassia County. Right now, let's go over to the Golden Heritage Senior Center and say good morning to Debbie Critchfield. Debbie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I'm great. Thank you.
It's nice to have you back on the program. What's going on this week at the Golden Heritage Senior Center that you'd like to highlight? Tell us what's happening.
Oh, lots of good food as usual with Debbie as the cook. On the 14th is our once-a-month birthday anniversary dinner, which is extra special and wonderful, where we celebrate everyone's birthday and anniversaries for the month. Our breakfast is this coming Saturday from 8 to 10. Once again, the food is wonderful. It's all homemade. Lots more than you can eat. I usually give people 2 plates because it doesn't fit on one.
All right. Now, let me ask you a question about that, Debbie. The breakfast, it starts at 8 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what's the cost to get breakfast over there this next Saturday?
$5.
Oh, my goodness, only $5. And most of these extra functions that you talk about, this is helping raise funds for not only the senior center, but I would imagine also the Meals on Wheels. Is that correct?
Especially for Meals on Wheels, yes. That's our main focus.
Well, how many shut-ins do we have in the Cassia area alone, I mean, that you have to take meals to?
We serve anywhere from, usually an average is 45 to 50 a day.
Oh, my.
And we do that every weekday. And then on Fridays, we give them 3 meals, 2 are frozen to last them through the weekend.
I see. Now, Debbie, it's no secret. I've been connected with the Golden Heritage and the Meals on Wheels for a long, long time. It's a very important project, one that we can't let slip by, because a lot of times that's the only meal that a lot of these seniors will get, is it not?
It is. It absolutely is. And they will eat part of it and save part of it for dinner. And it's also sometimes the only contact they have with other people. And it's also a good time to do a wellness check. We're not medical people by any means, but we can, check on, make sure that they're feeling all right. And if they're not, we can get the right people to come in and help them.
Absolutely. Well, this is all the more reason that we need to amplify the fact that you're going to have a breakfast coming up this Saturday, and it's going to be at the Golden Heritage Senior Center at 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. And what are they going to have for breakfast, Debbie?
Oh, we have homemade pancakes, biscuits and gravy, eggs, hash browns, sausage, bacon, big, huge cinnamon rolls, I think coffee and juice. I think that's about it. My mind is going down the table as we serve.
All right, but all of that for just $5. So there's an opportunity from 8 till 10 coming up this next Saturday where people can have a great breakfast, but they can also help the seniors, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, in the time remaining, I want you to talk a little bit real quick. I got about 4 minutes left. The second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner is going to be happening on November 19th, right there at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Boy, last year, Debbie, this was a home run. We had a lot of people attend that, didn't we?
We did. We had so many people that I don't think we were quite prepared for that many. And we had some problems with feeding and parking. And so because of that, this year, hopefully we've gotten all that figured out and it will be a lot easier for people. Like the logistics of it, the way having you help us has been wonderful because you think of things that we might not have. But yeah, the ease of coming in and getting your food and having a place to sit and the parking, all of it will be a lot easier this year.
Absolutely, and the food is going to be great. That's the number one thing I heard from many, many people after the event was over. Holy cow, did they get a delicious plate of food, and the desserts were great. People aren't going to walk out of there hungry by any means.
No, they're not.
Well, now...
Also this year... I'm sorry?
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just... we're going to have wonderful door prizes, and you don't have to be here to win the door prize. And you just write your name on the ticket that you bought for the meal. So it's quite easy. So
absolutely.
And entertainment, and of course, Mr. Zeb Bell emceeing for us.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. We're going to have some wonderful singers, great piano players, and especially the great meal. And like you said, door prizes where they don't have to be present to win. We will take care of contacting them. And put it on your calendars right now, November 19th at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Debbie, I just absolutely hope and pray that people become more aware of how valuable our senior citizens are to not only the economy, but the overall environment of Magic Valley.
That is absolutely true. When businesses look at an area, I'm no business expert, but I know that when they look at an area to, start their business in, they look at schools, parks, things like, support systems like a senior center, and that's important to the area.
Absolutely.
And it's important, of course, it's important for Meals on Wheels.
Well,
I would also like to emphasize, with the second I have left, even though we call it a senior center, it's open to anyone, everyone.
Absolutely.
Just come in, the food is wonderful. It's only $6 for lunch every day at 12. And the food is homemade, and just like the breakfast and the Thanksgiving dinner, it's more than you can eat.
Absolutely. You know, you have done such a wonderful job over there with Linda and the rest of the board of directors, and I very much compliment you for all your effort. But every Monday, we're going to highlight what's going on at the Golden Heritage Senior Center, and we're going to use it as a build-up to go right up to November 19th for that great big second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner. Debbie, thank you for taking the time to come on the program.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.
At the board, thank you.
All right, take care. There's a very nice lady, and I got to tell you that the Golden Heritage Senior Center in Burley has done an outstanding job, but I get tears in my eyes, and this is honest truth. I get tears in my eyes thinking about the seniors that are shut-ins, and the only contact they have daily is with the person that might be delivering that meal, that one meal to those folks. Please help support this dinner coming up on November 19th, the Pilgrim Pride Dinner, and the proceeds go to the Meals on Wheels. Thank you so much. Holy smokes, we're going to go to the phone lines right now, and a gentleman that was lost is now found, and he's been on this program many, many times in the past. Good morning, Casey Maddox. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Zeb. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, God bless you for filling in this open time that I had. We couldn't get you last hour, but Casey Maddox, of course, with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Casey, this particular case that we're going to talk about this morning with former Planned Parenthood Facility Director Sue Thayer, give us some background as to basically her thoughts about Planned Parenthood and this case in itself. It sounds like she's going to be actively involved in showing how Planned Parenthood is not all that it purports itself to be.
Well, that's right. Sue Thayer worked for Planned Parenthood for 17 years in Iowa, and so she's seen it from the inside. And we have a case pending right now out in Iowa. This is a False Claims Act case alleging well over $25 million in Medicaid fraud by Planned Parenthood. This is taking money from taxpayers. It's also taking money that should have been able to be used by others to provide health services, but Planned Parenthood, Sue alleges, took that money from Medicaid through abusing taxpayer dollars. And so this is very important for people to understand just what Planned Parenthood is and how it has been able to gain $765 million in excess revenue as a nonprofit just over the last decade.
You know, I got to tell you, Casey, you and I haven't had a chance to talk about this case. I've talked to Carrie Kupek mostly about this. But when I saw the string of videos regarding the doctors and the callous remarks about the baby parts and the selling of baby parts and the abortions and everything, I got to tell you, it brought tears to my eyes. And then when I listened to Cecile Richards testify before Congress, the smug, arrogant attitude that she had, I just am amazed as to why Planned Parenthood is still getting our tax dollars.
You know, I think a lot of Americans share that same sort of confusion. Why an organization like Planned Parenthood that has been caught on these videotapes, its senior-level executives talking about selling baby body parts and changing the way they're going to do abortions in order to get baby body parts, both of which would be illegal under federal law. In addition to all the other problems, I mean, we know that there have been a dozen instances in which Planned Parenthood failed to report sex abuse of young girls. We know that there are audits around the country. In addition to Sue's allegations, there are federal and state audits around the country that have showed Planned Parenthood is overbilling taxpayers under Medicaid. And so I think a lot of Americans look at all that information and say, why on earth is a group like that still continuing to receive over $500 million of my hard-earned taxpayer dollars every year?
Yeah. You know, I want to revert back to a case that it just broke my heart, but it also, as a parent, it infuriated me to think that a 13-year-old girl could go to a Planned Parenthood facility and get an abortion without the knowledge of the parents. What kind of a barbaristic society are we creating here?
It is really troubling. I think, but That's part of their model. Planned Parenthood, as I mentioned, we have a report out that shows that there are a dozen instances in which Planned Parenthood failed to report the sex abuse of young girls. These are stories like in Colorado, where it turns out that it was a stepfather who had been abusing this girl for years. Planned Parenthood should have known. They're looking at a girl whose the last name of the significantly older man who brought her in does not match, and they should have known enough to say that we need to make sure that we have that the parents are aware of this. In Alabama, you had a young girl who was twice raped by a man and brought into a Planned Parenthood facility in Mobile, Alabama, and they did abortions twice within in the course of just a few months, and never reported that to her parents. These are heartbreaking stories, but it also speaks to why an organization like that should not be receiving our taxpayer dollars. If they were any other medical provider in the country, there is no question that they would lose their ability to bill the taxpayers for the $500 million that they get every year.
You know, Casey, help me on something. I don't know your family situation. I'm assuming that you probably have children and are married. But from my standpoint, as a father and a grandfather, I sit here and I just absolutely cannot understand how this could turn into a partisan issue. How the Democrats, how Hillary Clinton, how Obama, how the Democrats on the left could sit there and advocate for Planned Parenthood and turn it into a partisan issue against the Republican and conservatives. This is an issue of what's right and wrong, and both sides of the aisle should be outraged. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right, and I think what you see is what happens when Planned Parenthood, out of its excess, out of its this huge amount of money that it has, more than it even needs, that it reports every year. What happens is when they are able to give tens of millions of dollars to elect certain people to office, then this is what you see. You see this kind of partisan divide over this because they are giving money to one side of the political aisle. And I think that's what happens. Planned Parenthood pays to keep people in office who will protect Planned Parenthood, and the people who are in office continue to receive that money, and so they protect Planned Parenthood. And it becomes a vicious cycle. But as parents, as grandparents, I think we need to make our voices heard and let people in D.C. And in our states know that we are tired of this, that we're tired of our taxpayer dollars going to an organization that seems to be much more of a political entity disguised as a women's health facility than anything else.
But there are better choices. There are other places, and we don't really need Planned Parenthood, do we?
No, that's absolutely right. There are close to 200,000 Medicaid providers around the country where low-income women can go to get health services, and over 1,300 federally qualified health centers and rural health clinics that are all over this country where people can get better services. One of the things that people miss, and this is brought up in Sue Thayer's testimony, is that Planned Parenthood, in many cases, will very rarely have any kind of medical professional present at all. In Sue's case, they had a nurse who was there about 2 hours a week that would sign off on birth control prescriptions that non-medical personnel had written for them days before, which is its own legal problem. But it also speaks to the fact that this is a medical provider, so-called medical provider, that very often has no medical professionals present.
Oh,
you go to a federally qualified health center, you're going to see an actual doctor, actual nurses, and get actual medical care.
You know, I've watched, and I got to tell you, I guess I'm not as strong as I thought I was, but when I watch some of these videos and listen to the verbiage about one doctor saying, well, I had to do this so I could obtain the sources and the money for buying a new car, as if we were just talking about auto parts from a Napa Auto creating parts store, whatever. But when I listen to these videos, and then I heard an explanation by some of the liberal left saying, oh, well, these videos have been altered. No, the voices and the substance of what they said was not altered at all. It sounds so heinous, it almost sounds like Nazi Germany. And maybe that's too harsh, but that's my feeling.
You know, I think many people see this exactly the same way, Zeb. And the bottom line is these videos, that's all they have, is to claim that they're edited. Because when you sit and watch those videos, anyone with a heart is horrified, just as you are. And so what we did was we actually submitted this to an outside entity. We asked for an organization called Coalfire, which is basically a group that does forensic video analysis for courts, for Fortune 500 companies. Take a look at these videos and tell us whether they're authentic, whether they're manipulated, what exactly is cut out of them, and what they came back with was a report from this third-party entity that shows these videos are not manipulated, they are not, they are authentic, and they went through and took all of the full-length videos that are available on YouTube. If you've got access to the internet, you have access to the full versions of these videos. And they said, well, there are a few edits, as the left has complained, out of those full versions of those videos available for anybody to watch. But it turns out that the only thing edited out of them are exactly what David Daleiden has said all along that were edited, and that is him going to the bathroom, principally, commute time, things like that have nothing to do with anything. The substance of what these people said is there on the video for anyone to see and anyone to listen to. And so these videos are completely legitimate. I would encourage you to go to our website. You can find the full report there. You can also find the links to watch the full versions of the videos. And every American should do that and know exactly what we're dealing with here with Planned Parenthood. And it is time to stop this taxpayer funding of an organization.
Let me ask you this final thought here this morning, Casey. As I said, it's a partisan issue right now, and I've listened to some of the absolutely abhorrent language from Hillary Clinton and others. My big fear is that she may become president. My big fear is that she may remain very supportive of Planned Parenthood, and we could be seeing another 4 years before we have something corrective done for our society. I don't think this society can take another 4 years of barbarism. That's my own personal opinion.
You know, I think people who are horrified by this, which should be everyone, but the people who are have to speak out, because I think even the folks in Washington, D.C. and in our states who are on our side, who are elected officials, need to hear from us that this is different, that however much it was that we were sitting on the sidelines before, that we would be upset for a moment but then let it pass, that this is now different, that what we've seen on these videos is driving us to action. And so, like I said, you can go to our website, adflegal.org. We have a page there set up where you can find the videos. You can see action steps that you can take to contact members of Congress and others. But I would encourage people to do that and let people know that this is not going to be just a passing concern, that people are truly moved to action over what they've seen on these videos.
Absolutely. Casey, I want to say God's blessings to you, and thank you for being so friendly and coming on at a later time this morning. I really appreciate it. Alliance Defending Freedom, Casey Maddox, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb.
Have a great day. Thank you. I really appreciate those folks, the Alliance Defending Freedom. And Casey Maddox, as I said, has been on my program many, many times in the past, talking about various issues and talking about Planned Parenthood this morning. And I'm just outraged. I am just outraged that our society, in a nutshell, is going so low into the cesspool, and we're turning into such a barbaristic society and calloused. My goodness, we're talking about human lives here. Babies. And, you know, I'm just going to come right out and say it. There is more concern about the killing over in Africa of Cecil the lion than there is over abortions of human children. What is the matter with us? Well, I'm just going to state one reason, and you can be offended if you want to be offended. I don't think most of the audience will be, however. We've got to get back to the Bible and God. This secular society garbage is not working. And it never will. We're going to take a little break right now and send it back over to our main studios, and then I'm going to come back with a lady that absolutely, she's just number one as far as I'm concerned in explaining in very easy to listen to terminology about the devastation of Obamacare, what it's costing us, what it's going to do as far as coverage is concerned. We're going to have all that coming up in just a very few moments with Dr. Elena George of the state of Georgia. Don't go away, anybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back into our last half hour for this morning. And I am very, very honored to have this lady back on our program again, discussing Obamacare, the pitfalls of this program, the costs, and everything else. And I say good morning to Dr. Elena George. Good morning, Dr. George. How are you?
I'm fine, Zeb. It's a pleasure always to be with you.
You know, it's been a long time since I've had you on the program, and I've missed having you here to discuss this. And I think my first question would be this morning is, from the initial visits that you had with me on this program back over a year and a half ago, discussing the inception of Obamacare, what has happened? Where has it gone? And is it as insidious as we thought it was?
Well, it's no longer insidious. Now that it's been implemented, people are seeing exactly what I and other doctors predicted. It's way more expensive than anybody ever was told it was going to be. People aren't really able to afford to use the insurance that they have because the out-of-pocket costs are so high. And they're finding that they don't have the same choice of doctors that they did before the Affordable Care Act passed. You know, I saw this coming, but I had no idea it was going to unfold as quickly as it has. You know, we've had people who were on Obamacare for a year are now off of it and back in the emergency rooms because they found that their out-of-pocket costs and premiums were prohibitive.
You know, Dr. George, let's go right from the cost factor. Wasn't the original intent of Obamacare to insure approximately 33 million uninsured Americans? But I don't think from my research that we've gained anything in numbers, have we?
No. I mean, they said that they covered about 8 million to 9 million. That's now dropped when you remove the people who weren't valid because they weren't citizens. And now you've lost another, I think, 22% that, again, couldn't afford it, so just dropped it, and they're just going to pay the fine. So I think we're down to about 5 million coverage. And what you've done, what happened was they blew up the entire healthcare system in order to cover 5 million people. It's really disgusting when you think about it. And all of the compliance and regulations that went into crafting the bill has jacked up the price for everybody. And what we're seeing now is less choice. And not only because people can't afford it, but because hospitals have closed, insurance companies have folded and become just, it's too big to fail. You've gone from dozens of insurance companies to 5. You've gone from, hundreds of rural hospitals have closed. People now have to travel hundreds of miles if they live outside of the city to get to a hospital. And now the hospitals have become systems. So they've just become huge, monolithic. They've Pac-Man'd private doctors into their system. And it's become more expensive, more unwieldy. And now you have a mandate to buy into this thing, which is completely artificially rigged, honestly.
And Dr. George, has this situation, and we did talk about this, I went back through some of the archives on our previous visits, and we talked about rationing. We talked about people that would be so disgruntled with Obamacare they might not have any coverage, they can't afford it, etc. What has happened to the general American citizen, possibly senior citizens, on worrying about rationing, worrying about not getting an operation that's covered, right on down to the newly marrieds or the new family members? I mean, how bad is this situation for America in general?
Well, it affects everybody. If you're on Medicare, you are paying more out of pocket. They just announced that. If you are just getting started and starting your first job,
you're having to pay hundreds of dollars for the privilege of carrying plastic with an out-of-pocket anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 out of pocket. And basically it's become not only a rationing system for people with severe diseases, but it's also a self-rationing system. People have so much money they have to pay per month and then again out of pocket. They're not going to the doctor, or they're foregoing the medication or the procedure or the lab test. So it's actually a self-ration system that's extremely powerful. And when they tell you the cost of healthcare has dropped, it's because people aren't accessing it as much, not because they're using it and enjoying it.
You know, isn't it a shame that the richest, most blessed country in the world has come to this? And I guess I'm kind of shotgunning some of my questions here this morning, but what about this system as it stands today, Dr. George? Is it reparable with a new administration, or have we fallen over the cliff?
No. Well, you know, the whole thing was rigged to fail. I still believe that the whole thing was a Trojan horse for single payer, and we're seeing that. You've gone from dozens of insurance companies down to 5. If Blue Cross purchases Cigna and Humana is bought out by Aetna, we'll have 3. So we're having these huge insurance companies having more market share, more control over the baseline bottom dollar that you're charged, and it's not working. But, you know, I just wrote a book, and it's out. It's called Big Medicine, The Cost of Corporate Control, How Doctors and Patients Working Together Can Rebuild a Better System. And in that book, I not only describe how we got here, but solutions so people can know that they have a choice. And I've spoken to you about it on your show before. Medical cost sharing is written into the Affordable Care Act. No one ever talks about it, but that is the most cost-effective thing that people can do to get out of this system. You won't be fined. It is allowed under the Affordable Care Act, and under that mindset, you're able to actually get all of the ways to lower the cost of health care, and it's negotiated for you. It's pre-negotiated. It's self-pay patients who join together, pay for our own health care needs, cut the middleman out, cut the government intrusion out, and just deal directly with the doctor and the patient. That's how you do this. If we get rid of the government and the insurance companies, doctors and patients can lower the price, get quality health care, and actually see somebody who actually spends time with you and actually wants to help you and can help you.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Absolutely. Now, this has not been easy for doctors either, has it? I mean, the regulations and all the threats and everything against doctors if they don't toe the line with Obamacare. Tell us a little bit about some of the pitfalls against the doctors themselves.
Well, doctors are now become agents for the government, and their fiduciary responsibility, especially if they're employed by a hospital, is to the hospital. So they're not able to do a sliding scale or barter with you or somehow lower the price, because that scale is set by the hospital. It's rigid. And if doctors don't prescribe within their formulary, if they don't bill enough, if they do too many tests, they're going to be dinged as, you know, a doctor who's an outlier. And if you underbill somebody under the Medicare system, for example, that's considered fraud. That means I'm going to charge you less of a fee than I can because I'm trying to save you money. That's fraud. I mean, there's no doctor who loves what they do, who is an advocate for the patient, who will remain in the system. And we're seeing a movement. There's a 2-tier system that's come online. Those who want to still be slaves to the healthcare system that we have now, and those of us who are independent, who are now moving towards making a deal with the patient. There's all sorts of things that are out there now, subscription-based practices. Those are not concierge in your classic sense. It's like a membership model, where like a gym model. You pay $60, $100 for a family a month, and it covers everything that goes on in the office. So no more separate billing for injections or lab tests or prescriptions. It's all rolled into a flat fee. And if people go to aapsonline.org, they can find doctors who believe in that, who are about helping the patient and getting rid of the middleman. That's the future. And if patients know about it, I believe that they'd make a conscious choice and know they don't have to be victimized by the system.
Dr. George, one thing I'm very concerned about is privacy in this Orwellian time that we live in, and it seems like Big Brother knows all about us. And when it comes to medical information, I don't want anybody to know about my information. That should be between my doctor, my caretaker, and myself. But now, how can medical information be used basically against people?
So let me give you an example. If I write a prescription for a patient to stop smoking, I can use something called Wellbutrin, which happens to be an antidepressant, but I'm using it for smoking cessation. Well, in the database, as soon as I sign my electronic medical record as a physician, it goes into a cloud. That cloud can be and is sifted through by Health and Hospital, HHS, FBI, you name the alphabet, they're looking at it. And basically the government has access to your health care and what prescriptions you're on. And this database will just flag Wellbutrin. They won't know why I used it because it's an algorithm. So they'll know that it's in your history and it's most likely used for depression. And they're just going to assume that you're depressed. And what happens if you want to get a legal handgun or you want to get a government job? That may follow you because there's no doctor note associated. It's just a list of prescriptions you've ever been prescribed. That's a problem. The system that I just described, where it's direct primary care, where the doctor and patient opt away from this system, that's where the privacy actually lies, because doctors don't use the cloud. They generally write their own handwritten notes, and they're not connected to this HHS system, and that's where the privacy really lies now.
Dr. George, I'm jumping around, like I said a moment ago, and right now we're seeing this administration take all comers, the refugee system coming into this country from the Middle East with, God help us, diseases that have not been confirmed. And even the FBI and Homeland Security have said we do not have the proper vetting of these people and we don't know who or what they are. How concerned are you regarding Obamacare and the coverage just absolutely collapsing the system right down around our ears with all these people coming in from foreign countries?
We've already seen that happen. You know, when we had the influx from South America, those people are on the Affordable Care Act. Those are some of the people that got kicked off when they finally started to vet. But they're now announcing that they don't have enough money to do it, and they're not going to do it. And they actually have an interest in not doing it because it makes it seem like more people have signed up for it and that they're happy with it. Well, you know what? If I came in from a foreign country and I was covered, I'd be happy with whatever you gave me. So this is not, it's all to jerry-rig the numbers, frankly. And you and I, and anybody working in this country, is going to pay for it.
I don't see how we can keep absorbing these costs like sponges with the multitudes, the thousands of people coming in. And is it going to refer back to what you and I talked about on one program, where the elderly, the 65 and older crowd, are going to be pushed off into a hemlock society to where they won't get the coverage because of their age and they're going to be discriminated against?
And I hate to tell you this, but it's already happened. And it's not just the seniors. It's people with any chronic catastrophic illness now. They're being put into hospice. And there's actually, the government now pays for end-of-life decisions, conversations. They never pay for things like that. They won't pay for allergy testing, but they'll pay for you to talk about going into a hospice or, you know, having your DNR, do not resuscitate order signed. That's what they're spending money on. It's about making you comfortable and not helping you or curing you if you have something that they consider to be too expensive with a very short or not many people can benefit from it. But again, if you want to enter the system, everybody's going to have this. I don't care if you're a senior. I think I've predicted this. As soon as they do this to the seniors, they're coming for the neonates and the children with medical problems at birth. They're next. And then it's the rest of us. So while we can, while you have power, you need to make decisions and choices that really serve you and your family, and specifically your pocketbook. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Whoever pays for the service controls the service. If insurance companies are administering your money, then they get to decide what you get. If you administer your own money, not only can you decide what you get, but it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper. There's going to be better doctors to deal with. And you're going to go back to medicine the old-fashioned way, where you actually have a relationship with your doctor, who's your advocate, not an agent for the government.
Dr. George, I know this is looking with hindsight, which is always 20/20, but who in the world sat down at the midnight hour with the doors closed and wrote this in the first place? And why were medical people such as yourself, doctors that understand, why were they never contacted? This seems like the biggest farce and biggest charade that's ever been perpetrated on the American public.
Well, in a word, it's a Ponzi scheme, technically. And they don't want us to be involved as doctors because it's not about health care. It's about control of 1/6 of the economy, about control of your health care choices, about control of me as a physician and what I'm able to do to help my patient. And bottom line is, it's about siphoning as much money away from the doctor and patient to give to the pharmaceutical companies, the hospitals, the medical insurance companies. They're the ones that are on the crafting floor of this thing. And if you look at this, go to a website and just look up the lobby money that goes to Congress. The top 10 things that pay Congress are healthcare related. And when you understand that and you follow the money, you don't really have a question anymore about how we got here.
Doctor, final thought here this morning. Is this, our boot heels on the edge of the cliff and somebody's going to push us over? Or with a new administration, with some common sense, can this situation be reparable and rebuilt for the betterment of America?
You know, I'm going to give you a twofold answer to that one. I don't think the answer is legislative. It's not going to be. They've ruined so much of healthcare in implementing Obamacare that reversing it, repeal and replace is a waste of time. What I would like to see is repeal of the mandate. Get rid of that so people can be unleashed to pick what's best for them. That's number one. Number two, it's time for us as citizens, doctors, patients, to take our power back. I'm done with somebody telling me what to do. I joined Liberty Health Share, a medical cost-sharing company, and I control my own money. And it's cheaper for me, and I can actually bypass any of these roadblocks I just spoke about. And people should read my book because it describes, from a doctor's perspective, how we got here, who the players are, not what they tell you they are, but who they are, and most importantly, solutions that you and your family can pick that work for you, that you can actually get your money's worth.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a quick question. Thank you, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please, for Dr. George.
Hi. I have two questions. The name of the book and that website, AAPS website.
Yeah, aapsonline.org. That's the website that gives you all the physicians across the country. And the book is called Big Medicine, The Cost of Corporate Control, and How Doctors and Patients Working Together Can Rebuild a Better System. And you can also get that on my website, drelenageorge.com.
Now, I really appreciate that call, caller. Thank you. Now, this book, is it available at most major bookstores right now, Dr. George?
Well, it's on Amazon, it's on Kindle, or you can get it directly from me at my website.
Now, here's what I'm going to...
Online only.
I'm going to try to get a copy of that book as soon as possible, and...
I'll send you a copy.
I would really appreciate it, and if you'll please allow me to sit down, read the book, and then have you back on the air, because I think this is a topic that absolutely bears more scrutiny, and I really appreciate it. Give us the title of the book one more time, and where they can obtain it.
Sure. It's called Big Medicine, The Cost of Corporate Control, and How Doctors and Patients Working Together Can Rebuild a Better System. And you can get it at drelenageorge.com, which has links to Kindle and directly on the site and Amazon.
I will look forward to that copy, and please know how much I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come on my program. Dr. Elena George and her book called Big Medicine, and God bless you. I'll read the book, have you back on in the near future, and thank you so much for this morning.
Well, it's a blessing to be with you. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you very much. I have the highest respect for that lady, and she's been on my program many, many, many times talking about Obamacare. She is a doctor in private practice in Atlanta, Georgia, and an expert on health care. And she has been on programs and television and radio all across this United States. And I really do appreciate her. Dr. Elena George from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you. Wow, I got to have that book and read it and then highlight a lot of it and have her back on the air. It's time for the weather. My goodness sakes, I'm running late here. And the weather this hour brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are your hometown meat cutter, and they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, my goodness. Yes, they guarantee everything they sell. They've got the best of ribeye steaks, New York strips, sirloin tips, everything at Scarrows Meats. Caller, don't go away. I'll be with you in a minute. But right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do kick off another work week. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, but not too bad. Expect a high of 77 tonight, low of 44 tomorrow. Pretty much the same. Looks like sunny skies, high of 78 with an overnight low of 45. 80 for Wednesday with an overnight low of 45. We're going to remain in the mid-70s to upper 70s pretty much for the rest of the week. Maybe by Sunday and into next week, temperatures could be cooling off to the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 65. Sunset tonight is at 6:57. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thanks, Gina, and brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, and they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I am. And that's a good thing. I just called to remind people, please watch out for the idiot drivers that do grace these roads. They aren't many at this time of year, but when you do run into one, it's usually a Lulu. And thank you to the green truck with Fancy Green Truck Museum Road all the time, pulling doubles that pulled out in front of me and made me slam my brakes to a halt, but there was nobody behind me.
Oh, my goodness.
On Highway 30.
I am so glad that you didn't get injured, but I want to reiterate what you just said. Yesterday, we were coming home from church and doing the speed limit on Highway 30. And a car rode my bumper all the way over the viaduct and along that straight stretch. And finally, when the road went to a passing lane, he pulled out to pass, but he didn't look. There was a car coming the other way, and he had to almost run me off the road to get in front of me. I agree with you. There are nincompoops behind the wheel.
I know, and then if you're headed east on the Highway 30, you get right behind them at the first stoplight here on Oakley and Main.
Yes,
so
yes.
It really say them any good to pass you, but oh well. Just be careful what you're doing.
I
and
couldn't
know that somebody else might not have good enough brakes to stop.
I agree.
That's all I have to say.
No, God bless you for bringing that up. It's a subject we should have talked about a long time ago. With all the harvest trucks on the road and everything, the beet trucks, the spud trucks, the bean trucks, everything, be careful out there because, man, I'll tell you what, we got some nincompoops behind the wheel, and they're not watching what they're doing. Thank you.
And they're not always truck drivers either.
No, definitely not. No, thank you very much.
Well, have a great day.
I will, thank you. She's 100% right. We're not going to lump anybody into one certain category, but it just seems like at this time, with all the trucks and all the tractors and all the harvest equipment, just kind of sit back, chill, take it easy. Don't do something stupid that's going to not only hurt you, but also someone else. Be careful out there. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, all 7 locations serving you, and I mean service is the key word. They've got all the tires for your kind of driving, and don't forget, we're going to have to be thinking about snow tires here pretty quick, too. And, of course, they've got all the tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, snowmobile trailers. They've got them all, including the best brake value promise in the industry, and the front end alignments, the shocks and struts, and very important now in this time of the year, getting cooler, your batteries. They've got a battery for every need. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, absolutely the best. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see what else have I got here. Just a little side note. Green Bay Packers. Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Yes, sirree, undefeated. 5-0 right now. They didn't play so good yesterday, but they still won. And then my Cubbies. My always, every year losing Cubbies. They're not losing this year. No, they're in the playoffs, and it's tied up 1-1 versus the St. Louis Cardinals, and tonight, hopefully, they can make it 2-1 in the Cubs' favor. Oh, things are looking good in Baseballville. And let's see, tomorrow on the program, we have Frosty Woldridge, and then we've got Rich Manning coming back on, and he's going to be talking about taxes and where our money's going and how it's being wasted. And then don't forget, too, Dr. History and a surprise guest. And the way and reason it's a surprise guest is, I don't know who's going to be on at 10:30, to be honest with you. I'm still working on that. Until tomorrow at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course our tagline, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.